Hello and welcome to the lesson 1-2B. So this is lesson 1.2, and on the A video, which was required, we went over those which were circled, number 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, and 9. This is the optional video. We're going to go over numbers 1, 4, 7, and 10. And this video is for if you just need a little bit more extra help with some of these problems. So let's just get started on number 1. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to combine like terms. And so when we combine those, we get a 9x. We have to get that x by itself. We're isolating the x, so we divide by 9, and that gives us x equals 1. So step 1 was to combine like terms. Step 2 was to divide by 9, and then step 3 was to get your answer. One thing we did not cover in the other one was how to check your answer. And now I'm not going to probably go through every single one, but let me just show you how you check it. To check it, you plug in whatever you got for your answer. So we got a 1, and we're going to plug that 1 into every time that there is an x, and we're going to see if it equals. This is an easy one. Yes, 3 times 1 is 3, 6 times 1 is 6, and that does add up to 9. So yes, this answer does work. Okay, let's move on to number 4. All right, on number 4, we're going to start with the distributive property. Almost always, when you see that parentheses with a number outside, almost always that means that's what you do first. So we distribute that and we get 4a plus 45. On the other side of the equals, we have a 39. Now we need to get that a all by itself. In order to get it by itself, we're going to subtract 45. And this is where, if you needed to use your calculator, that is totally fine. Your computer has a calculator, your phone has a calculator, any basic calculator will do. And when we subtract 39 minus 45, we get a negative 6. Third step is going to be divide by 5. Again, we want to get that a all by itself. And so we divide by 5. I should not have put that equals. And so when we divide by 5 on this one, might be a little bit uncomfortable for some people, but we have a fraction. Please do not leave it as, please do leave it as improper. Do not give me a mixed number. Do not give me a decimal. Just leave it like that. That's the format that in algebra, we really prefer that form. So leave it as negative 6/5. If you were going to check it, this one would be a difficult one. You need a calculator. You would plug in negative 6/5 here for a, and you would work it out. But with a calculator, because that fraction is going to mess you up a little bit. Okay, next problem, number 7, and then number 10, and then we'll be done. Okay, again, we're trying to get the variable all by itself. So we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. So on the left, that leaves us with m over 5, and on the right, that leaves us with a 2. We still want to get that 5 all by itself. Remember, a fraction is really a division. And what is the opposite of dividing? Well, the opposite of dividing is multiply. So we want to multiply by whatever is in the denominator, which in this case is 5. So we're going to multiply both sides times 5. On the left, I'm going to call that 5 over 1, because isn't 5 over 1 the same as 5? Like, don't they mean the same thing? And so that's what I'm going to do. So on the left-hand side, when I multiply this, I'm going to take a step to show my work. When I multiply this, I'm going to get 5m over 5. Because when you multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. So 5m on the top, 1 times 5 is 5 on the bottom, and on the right-hand side, 2 times 5 is 10. Now, I've kind of run out of space, so give me a second to move these up and get some space. Okay, I was writing too big, but now I have some space. Because 5 over 5, what's 5 divided by 5? Because remember, a fraction means divide. I'm going to write that down. A fraction means divide. Why that's important, a couple of things. One is, it means when you do the opposite, you're actually multiplying, and that's what we did. Another is, when you have a fraction, that means divide. So 5 divided by 5, that's just 1. And you could call it 1m if you wanted to, or you can just call it m. And so that's going to give us our answer. So our third step was to divide by 5, and then our fourth step was to get our answer. I might just show you the check on this one. It's not going to take very long. If I check this one, I plug in my m right here. I change it to a 10. So I take out the m, I put in a 10 instead. When I check that, I get 10 over 5. Well, 10 over 5 is like a divide. So 10 divided by 5, 10 divided by 5 is 2. and I got 2 plus 8 is equal to 10. Is that right? Does 2 plus 8 equal 10? Yes, it does. So we got the right answer. I think it's important, especially if you're not confident in your work, it's important to check your work, especially like on a test or a quiz. You want to check that, make sure you get it right. Okay, last problem here. We see a multiply with a parentheses. That means we're going to distribute. So that gives us a negative 48 plus, or actually it's minus because we add those together. You could call it plus negative 6a, or 6a, excuse me, is equal to negative 30. I want to isolate my a, get it all by itself. So to do that, I need to add, and I'm adding because the 48 has a minus on it, a negative. So since it's negative, I need to do the opposite, which is add. So let me go through and talk about our steps again. Our first step was to distribute. So we distributed, we added 48. Okay, we're going to go straight down. So these two added together, they drop off to be 0. This is a plus, this is a negative 6a. So I'm just going to call it a negative 6a is equal to, and then again, if you need to use your calculator, that's fine. We're going to add a negative 30 plus 48, and that gives us a positive 18. So our last step is to isolate that a, get that a all by itself. So we want to divide by negative 6. And again, if you need your calculator, that's fine. Take 18, divide by negative 6, and you get your answer to be negative 3. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and check this one also. I'm just going to show you how to do it. You take that negative 3, you plug it into the a, and when I plugged it in, I put parentheses around it. I feel like that just really helps me to make sure that all my signs are accurate, okay? So I have a negative 6 out here. I put a plus. That's a mistake. There's no plus there. I'm going to get rid of that. So I have a negative 6 outside. Negative 8 plus negative 3, let me say that again. Positive 8 plus negative 3 is 5. Does that equal negative 30? This is a multiplication problem. Yes, negative 6 times 5 is negative 30. We got the right answer. All right, so a little bit more practice for you for solving equations. We will have some assignments on Ed's site with solving equations, so I'm hoping you do great on that.